Hey, what's going on? Strat Soldier here. I got a question in Twitter land about how QQQ acted this week. All right. Shout out to Tevoo, Tevoo. All right. Shout out to you. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Tevoo. And he knows how to create winning positions. He knows how to trade other systems, and he's just starting into the strat. All right, just starting getting into it. Likes how it goes, but he feels like there's something he's missing. All right, a couple weeks ago, hitting it. All right, doing it right. This week he's like, nah, it's kind of wonky. It's kind of wonky. What's going on? So let's go look at QQQ. All right, let's see what happened. First thing we need to do is remember it was a short week. It was a short week this week, all right? And he likes to look at all the way out, all the time frames from a year to the quarter, to the month and on down. Yes, we do consider these higher time frames for time frame continuity. Why? Because we need to know what the institutional buyers are actually doing. It's very hard for them to hide that they're buying up a stock. It's very hard for them to hide. Everybody likes to talk about dark pool, and everybody likes to talk about all these weird ways of trading and big players hiding their trades. Not saying that doesn't happen, but the monthly chart tells the real story, okay? And tells the real story. And so when it comes to time frame continuity, the month and the quarter, the year and the quarter are good, but you don't need the year and the quarter. All right, you don't need them. You need to know, it's nice to trade something that's two up on the year, all right, and hold it all day. Well, I was talking about VeriSign earlier this year, all right? Same thing with the quarterly. But if you're not taking macro trades, you don't have to consider them so much. It's nice to know what's happening with them, but for time frame continuity, especially for weekly trades, all you need is the month, the week, the day, and the 60s, okay? And so we're still inside month on QQQ. We're still inside month. Very first week of September. Inside on the month. All right. Inside on the month. When it go to QQQ on the week, go down to the week. We end up going scenario 3 outside week. All right. That's good. All right. Started low, came back up high. Took out the highs, became a scenario 3. That's good. We want to know that's happening. And then on the on the daily charts, this is our broadening formation on the daily. All right. All of this, even though it looks good, is still trapped in all of this. All right. You can even draw another sub-try, which is a smaller broadening formation within the bigger one. And you can see that here. All right. These bars are still trapped in these bars here. All right. So even though this looks good, it was trending back up, you need to know that it's still stuck in the middle of the broadening formation. All right. Still stuck in the middle. So how could we have navigated this, especially today? Well, today is red. Red on the day. Failed to. Red on the day. Red on the day. Red on the day, looking at our 60s, that completely overrides what's happened. The first 2 hours of the day completely we're overriding what's happening on the week and the month. Okay? The sellers were in control today. All right, and now it did go out flat, like it just started, here's your first your first 2 down on the day. Here's your first failed 2 on the day. Sorry about that. Failed 2 on the day. You could have took it here, 2-2 reversal down at 574 all the way back down, but then it comes back up. All right, and then just trades sideways. So yes, you could have made some money here, but then it just trades sideways. You would have had to this would have forced you to make a decision to take your profits or take it somewhere in here so you don't give it all back. But then after that, nothing. All right. He also talked about a situation taking this inside bar. Now I'm telling this story without telling all his business. I'm definitely not going to tell all his business. Not doing that. All right. So if you're looking for me to do that, I'm not doing that. Yes, you could probably take this inside bar right here. All right. But looking at time frame continuity, I would not look for this thing, if it goes 212 up, I would not look for this thing to go back up to 581. No way. No way. Why? Because the day is red. Conflict. The day is red. Okay? Conflict. Not looking for that. If anything I would be looking for on this inside bar, on the 60-minute chart, I would be looking for this thing to go 212 down. And it didn't do that. All right, it did not do that. But that's what I would be looking for, just based on time frame continuity. Because that shows that would have shown that the buyers the sellers are selling it today, and they're selling it right now. That's what these first 2 hours of the day told everybody. They're selling it today. They're taking their profits today, and they're doing it right now. And they just stopped. All right, and then they stopped, and people think it's time to buy. And the reason why people think it's time to buy, and they say, oh, it's going to pop. The reason why people feel like it's going to pop is because these people that are short selling these stocks, they have to cover. They have to buy the stocks to cover their position. Excuse me. They have to buy the stocks to cover their positions. All right, it's what turns them into a buyer. All right, and you see these little, then it goes green, and people think, okay, it's time to get in. All right, not really. Not really. You want your daily and the 60 to be the same color. All right. You want your daily and the 60 to be the same color. So if it's red on the day, you need to be looking for continuations. All right. Into the, that's reversals that's going to reconfirm that they're selling today. All right. Continuations or reversals to get in on what's already happening on the day. 212 down, or maybe a 2-2 reversal back up that goes 2-2 back down, that back down red to get in on what's happening on the day. The only thing that really happened today is it went 2-2 reversal back down on the 60s today, and then just did nothing the rest of the day. Let's drop down on the 60-minute charts and dig a little bit further what happened right here. 30-minute charts. All right, it shows a little bit more. This was good. But then remember, I was saying you could take that 2-2 reversal back down on the 60s, but you couldn't, right here at 11 o'clock, it started coming back up. It forcing you to just, make a decision if you're going to cut these puts. All right, if you got puts. 15-minute charts a little bit clearer. All right, 15-minute charts a little bit clearer. There's definitely a hammer, 2-2 reversal back up. So what you could have done is, let's change this to a 60-minute chart, just so we can visually see what's happening. Okay. You could have taken this right here. Yes, you could have taken the 2-2 reversal back down on the day at 574.52, and then manage this thing on the 15-minute bar. And then this would have been your stop right here on the 15-minute. All right. So, is that a lot of money? I mean, that depends on how you trade and what you do. All right. Honestly, I would have, let me see here. Let's go all time frames. Original and below. Yup. All right. Yeah. It'd have been quick. That would have been quick. All right. So it would have worked for a good 15. That would have worked for a little bit. Then you get stopped out here. But you would have got stopped out with profit. That's the difference. All right. Stop that with profit. Stop that with profit. And then just leave it alone the rest of the day, because it just trades sideways. Could we have managed that trade better on the 5-minute charts? Let's see. Let's see. All right. You would have got in somewhere around here, and your stop probably would have been the exact same. Well, 572. 572. So if you would have took this 2-2 reversal back down on the hour, let's change this to the daily. So we have, again, this is just visual. I don't suggest you change all your time frames. I'm just showing you the visual. Okay, time frame continuity. Red on the day, 2-2 reversal back down on the 60s. If you would have managed it on the 15, you had a hammer in force that would have stopped you out. Okay, and then you got this thing that would have stopped you out. Okay. around 552, and it looks a little ugly right here as well. All right, that might have stopped you out as well, depending on how fast you're reacting to these moves. But definitely the 15 is a lot more clear. On that 15-minute chart, that hammer in force gets you out. All right, this is a lot more clear. 2-2 reversal back down on the 60-minute. All right, the daily showing that they're selling today, the 60 minutes showing that they're selling right now. Managing it on the 15-minute time frame. I got a 2-2 reversal back up on the 15 minutes, hammer in force. I take a little money, I leave for the day. I'm done. Okay, done. And that's if you didn't take anything on that first this first puking to the lows. Puking to the lows. Golly. Let's see, what did the PSAR say on this? PSAR would not have helped you on this one. You would have stopped out break even with the PSAR. 5 minute, what's 5 minutes say on the PSAR? Probably about the same stop. Yeah. Yep. Not trying to confuse you, just looking at some other things that Rob used to look at. He did use that PSAR, parabolic stop and reverse. So I think the only thing to shorten this up and to get to an end to the, to sum it all up, look at time frame continuity. All right, you got to have 3 things to create winning positions in the strat. You have to have actionable signals, time frame continuity, and you got to know where you're at in the broadening formation. You have to know where you're at in the broadening formation. Are we at the highs? Are we in the middle? Are we at the lows? Where are we at? The worst part to be is in the middle. JJ likes to say stuck in the middle with you. So let's change these charts back to the 60-minute charts. Change this back to the daily. Change this back to the weekly. Okay. All right. So again, inside on the month, we know this is going to be consolidating, going back and forth and being silly. We'll see what they do next week. Also, short week and the first week of September. Everybody's trying to figure out what we're going to do. There's lots of news out here. We got tariffs going on. We got, the president's trying to twist Jay Powell's arm to cut interest rates. Not a lot of people know what's going on. All right, honestly, the market's probably not going to do much until the interest rates decision, until they start cutting rates. And if they do start cutting rates, it's only going to be like half a percentage. So 50 basis points is 0.5%. So I just based on what you told me, I think you know what you're doing. I think you know exactly how to create winning positions. Now we got to figure out how to keep what you make. All right. And then remember, and this goes for everyone, I don't care if you trade stocks or options, your very first entry needs to be small. It needs to be small. That way, if you get stopped out, the loss is small. Does that make sense? Okay, you get in small, so if you get stopped out, your entry is small. So if you get stopped out, you get stopped out with a small loss. All right, it's already programmed into the first initial trade. And then we're looking for places to add to our positions. Okay, if you get in with 10-15 contracts thinking that this is going to be it, you're going to make X amount of money. You already did all the math before you even took the trade. Make sure you calculate your loss if you get stopped out, number one. And then number two, you get in with those 10 contracts and you're like, okay, it's going to be great. And then you get stopped out immediately, or you get stopped out in the next 15 minutes after you took it. That's frustrating, all right? Because you got in with such a big size. All right, you got in with such a big size. So Rob used to say, if you can buy 10, buy 5. If you can buy 5, buy 2. And then as it moves along, because if it's really going to go, there's going to be ways to add. Now, if we were talking about trading Monday and coming in on Tuesday and then taking these 2 bars up, and then we're talking about, all right, we got stopped out here. Now we have a different story, because you took something on Monday or Tuesday, you got to work it for a couple days, and then you got stopped out on Friday. All right, this is actually Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, short week, right? But that's a different story. All right, you're getting stopped out of profit as it's moving up the trend. All right. I think I know what I think you're doing great. Keep working with the strat. Have all three universal truths. All right, have that planned out before you actually take the trades. All right, these are my actionable signals. This is the time frame continuity that I'm working with. Again, if you're trading weekly trades, weekly and monthly trades, you don't need to go year and quarter. All right, they're nice to look at, but if you're taking weekly trades, all you need is monthly, weekly, daily, and 60. Okay, and then your first initial position, small. All right, your first initial position is going to be small, and you're looking for places to add. All right. When it comes to time frame continuity, last point on time frame continuity, you want your daily and the 60 to be the same color. So you're looking for reconfirmations of that. All right. If they're buying on the month, buying on the week, but the day's red, you're like, hold on a second, what's going on here? But if they want to sell it the rest of the day, they only sold it for about 2 hours. But if they want to sell it the rest of the day, you're looking for any reversals or continuations back into the red. All right. The only problem that happened today was, they sold it off for the first 2 hours and then it just traded sideways for the rest of the day, doing nothing. And that stinks. That does stink. All right. So, I hope this helps. Let me know. I tried to make it as short as possible and I started rambling. All right. So hopefully it helps. Hopefully it helps you, and it hopefully helps everyone else. It's a common question, common situation, especially for new stratters. So that's why I put it out for everybody. And then it's September. All right. It's September. Let me show you this. Let me go to SPY. Let me show you seasonality. All right. Seasonality, get off there. Let me see here. Put it on the new call. There you go. There you go. All right. This is seasonality. This is Trend Spider. All right. We can go all the way back to 1993 if you want. But let's go back to 2020. Because that's when most people started, trading anyway. So it's just recent data for us. And it puts it into context of what we know. September's has been red for the last 6 years. For the last 6 years, September has been red. All right. It's going to be low volume. It's going to be low volume. And the institutional buyers, they have families too. They're out on vacations. They're out on their yachts. They're doing donuts in their Lamborghinis somewhere. All right. And you ever heard that story of T-Pain tearing up his one of his Bugattis because they didn't know how to drive it, tore it all up, and got this little pinhole in the radiator, and they anyway, Google it. It's a really funny story. Get on YouTube. It's a funny story. But anyway, these rich people get out there and they're out there, having fun. They're not trading right now. It's the retailers basically trading against ourselves, and we're all waiting to see if Fed cuts interest rates. All right. So September's been red for the last 6 years. It's okay to take a break. All right. It's okay to take a break. That goes for everybody. It's okay to take a break. Do some trading. Do some paper trading. Just don't wreck yourself. And then when October, November, December come in, when they come back and the volume comes back and really start trading again, you're not like mentally exhausted because of all this. All right. It's okay to take a break. I'm probably going to be the only person that tells you that. I swear. This is the Strat Soldier for a quick video on what happened to QQQ. For the question from Twitterland, I hope it helps Tevo, and I hope it helps everyone else. Man, I want to say TiVo so bad. Anyway, this is the Strat Soldier. I'll talk to you guys later. Hey, the weekend shifts tomorrow at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. And then for the Strat Warriors, coaching starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you guys later. Peace.